Welcome back to CrossKeys Vineyards. I'm Steve, the winemaker here, and we're excited to show you some of the things that's going on in the very busy month of May. Enjoy. I thought you guys might like to come along for scouting the vineyard with me. Scouting is very important at CrossKeys Vineyards. We scout the vineyards at least once a week, every single vineyard block. Primarily we're looking for disease and pests that might be a problem, but we also look at the structure of the canopy, if the shoots need to be positioned or if leaves need to be pulled for better sunlight, all the way down to if the grass needs to get cut or if there's a broken wire that needs to be fixed. It's a way for us to stay on top of the vineyard and make sure that we're treating problems that actually exist and not treating problems that don't. All right, this is our Block 2 Cabernet Franc, which you guys saw in the previous video. So let's take a look now that we finished our pruning on it. We are done with the double pruning to protect us from frost, so we'll take a look at how they're progressing. All right, you can see that we've cut down the shoots down to the first couple of buds, and now we're starting to grow a few inches at least on the shoots. And just on this shoot right here, you can actually, on most of them, this is actually going to be grapes. Those will bloom out and turn into flowers. You can see we have 2 clusters on this shoot right here. You can see it on this one over here as well. So these will turn into flowers in about a month, and then that will set the fruit, and we'll have all the fruit we have for this year. This vine looks like it made it through the frost absolutely fine. You can see maybe a little bit of damage on this guy right here. This is a very old block, planted in 2003, so it's a little scraggly looking because we're working on renewing the cordon. So you can see the trunk right here is original. This point, that is a 17-year-old trunk. And then instead of leaving the cordon, the main arm of the vine, that age, we're trying to renew it. So you can see how most of the vines are thick on the bottom and they get thinner because it's younger wood up top. So this is probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 year old cordon, and you can see we're starting another one again. But everything's looking good. Everybody cross your fingers, because this is Joey winterizing, or I guess summarizing, the wind machine. So we're getting them stored up for the year. Hopefully we don't need them again. This is our Block 3 Petit Verdot. This block, Petit Verdot, tends to bud out a little bit later than the other blocks, so it's not nearly as far along, but we'll take a look and see if we have any damage. The main thing I'm looking for at this point is damage from an insect called climbing cutworm. And it's a little worm that lives down in the detritus that's around the base of the vine. And at night it will climb up the trunk. And when the buds are about this stage right here, they like to eat them. So they'll either cut them in half, or the classic damage is you'll see a bud like this, but instead of being perfectly round, it kind of looks like it's scooped out like an ice cream cone. It's something that we have trouble with every year, but it's pretty easy to control. We actually spray it's a bacteria. It's Bacillus thuringiensis. So it's a living natural product, but it's a bacteria culture that will spray out in the vineyard, and it interferes with the growth and development of those climbing cutworm larvae. So a nice easy fix, but something you still have to stay on top of to make sure that when you get big rains like we've had for the last couple days, that we keep the vines protected. So this is our Block 5 Cabernet Franc. And here the shoots are pretty well developed. This is an area where we had a lot of buds and shoots out early during the frost problems, and a lot of them got nailed pretty good. But you can see this is a cane prune vineyard, and we left 2 canes on every side. So rather than just one, we put out twice as many buds as we normally would. And with that, it means that we get good growth, good even spacing, plenty of shoots, even though we lost a lot of shoots during that first frost. So just one of our insurance policies against frost that has paid off. Here, we're getting out of the climbing cutworm concern stage. We're looking more for Phomopsis, which we can talk about a little bit more at the top of the block, but it'll be kind of interesting to see. As we're on the downhill side, you'll see more damage from the frost, which isn't too big of a deal, but the delay of the growth of the vines is pretty significant just because this is colder. And even as we look up the block, I don't know, a raise of maybe 30 feet at the most from the top to the bottom of this block, they're a lot more advanced, a lot further along at the top. So on the longer shoots like this, I'm looking at the tissue here to see if I see any black spotting. There's one little black spot there, but that's not the type of spot I'm looking for. And that would be an indication of Phomopsis, which is microorganism Phomopsis viticola, which attacks early in the season the shoots and can restrict their growth. So it's something else we have to keep an eye out for. One other thing that we're looking for now is powdery mildew. Hasn't really been a concern here at CrossKeys very often. We have a lot of wind. We tend to stay a little colder than the ideal growth temperature for it, but something we always keep an eye out for, but I'm not expecting to see any. Ooh, actually, look at that. I think that might be a deer. Might have bitten off those guys. So the hungry deer are always out. That looks like it's too big to be a cutworm. So unfortunately, we always have to try to keep the deer out of the vineyard. We have our electric fence up now. We're trying our best, but when they're hungry, it's really hard to keep them out of here. There's a lot more scouting to do, but for now, let's head inside and take a look at the projects that we have going on there. And back inside the winery, we're starting to work on our rack and returns. So that is the process of taking the clean wine out of the barrel, putting it in tank, and cleaning the barrels and putting all the wine back. So we have a lot of barrels to get done still, everything on that side of the room. The positive is that means it's another chance for me to taste. So I will go through all the barrels, give them all a taste. I'll grade them all, and we'll start maybe thinking about the blends that are going to happen in 2019. But more importantly, it's kind of the first step of finishing the wine, so it's an exciting development. I took some video of us doing the rack and return. The main way we use to get the wine out of the barrel is with our racketeer, or bulldog is what we call it in the industry. It's a simple tool that sits inside the barrel. It seals the bung tight. You inject the barrel with air. We use nitrogen, CO2, or argon, an inert gas, so the wine doesn't oxidize. And that'll force the wine out through the hose and into the tank. And then we have a chance to drain it and clean it. So enjoy. So the racketeer has an adjustable bung clip. So that's what I'm about to put into the bung, snap down, hook up the inert gas, start the flow. As the top valve opens, wine begins to flow, and we'll start to slowly lower down the racketeer towards the bottom of the barrel, using the sight glass to check for any sediment. So we can get as much of the clean wine off as possible and leave all of the dirty particulate left at the bottom of the barrel, which we then will flip the barrel over. That's Kevin doing it. See the proper technique. He gets it to the side, and then one fluid motion starts to drain. And that's all the stuff that we're taking out of the wine. Thanks for joining me today and seeing all the things that we have going on here in early May at the vineyard. We're looking forward to next week tasting our Merlots with you. We'll do some more of those little sample bottles, go back to the library and have our current vintage as well. It'll be exciting to talk about what we do with Merlot, our purpose for it, and how we grow it here at CrossKeys. Please visit our website, www.crosskeysvineyards.com, our Instagram page, our Facebook page, and remember that we still offer free shipping with the promo code SPRING at checkout. Thank you so much.